Hey everyone, what's going on? It is Zach, and with Regulation C right around the corner, you might not know where to begin, but I can help you out. I got some teams here that I've been working on throughout the announcement of Regulation C, and hopefully they can do you some good and me some good as well. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. Let me know any feedback you have about the team or any questions in the comments down below. But let's get into it. I got 3 teams for you. So we have our 3 teams here. These have all had videos that I have made. So if I refer to those videos, you'll see the thumbnail somewhere on the screen. So you can check out that video yourself after watching this, of course, and liking and subscribing. But let's jump into it. So the first one, the time I used it, it didn't have the best showing, but we have the Crab Monkey team. This team did better with hyper offense. It can still do okay against Wo-Chien and Ting-Lu with the Crabominal, but it is kind of an uphill battle, especially with the Terra Water. So here you have Crabominal with Clear Amulet to avoid Intimidates, Hyper Cutter to get more boost, Protect, Crab Hammer, Ice Punch, and Drain Punch. They're all boosted by Hyper Cutter except for Crab Hammer. So unfortunately, you won't get extra boost on the Crab Hammer, but Crab Hammer is pretty strong. So after Crabominal, we have the Mouse Ape combination. The Mouse Ape combination can do pretty well, but as you've noticed, the one flaw about this team is that it doesn't deal with bulky waters really well if you want to Terra the Annihilate. So you have a bad matchup against waters like Palafin if you're doing Fire Annihilate, if you're doing Arcanine, if you're doing Ting-Lu. So that's something you have to be aware of. Like, this team really struggles against waters, and Gyarados has been rising up, and Palafin is really good with Chien-Pao, so that's something you do have to factor in. But with Annihilate, you can use the mouse hold. If they lead Flutter Mane Chi-Yu, you can always Terra Fire and switch in the Ting-Lu and take hits on the special side a little better without risking that mouse hold, because the mouse hold with Friend Guard gives a boost on both defense and special defense. So if you're facing up against 2 special attackers, sometimes in those situations Ting-Lu can do just as well as mouse hold. Not to mention, Ting-Lu can put pressure on the Chi-Yu with Stomping Tantrum, and it can put pressure on the Flutter Mane with Heavy Slam. If you do want to go the Trick Room option and you're facing against a Chi-Yu, what you want to do is go Oranguru Arcanine and turn 1 protect the Oranguru and then Snarl, get that special attack drop, and then that should put Oranguru in a position where it can take a Dazzling Gleam and a Dark Pulse as long as it doesn't flinch. That's the one thing you have to worry about here. We do have the Terra Dark to deal with Dark type moves on other combinations, and the Mental Herb to block the Taunt. Inner Focus blocks Fake Out, so you have all that there to support the Trick Room setup. And the Trick Room setup is actually pretty good. So with Ting-Lu, Ting-Lu is faster than Oranguru, so you can set up Trick Room and go for a Fissure, and then the next turn you can instruct with Oranguru, which is going to activate the Fissure again, and then you can click Stomping Tantrum, which is going to have an increased power because the first Fissure missed. So you do have to keep that mindful that if you switch in Ting-Lu, you can't instruct the first turn until Ting-Lu attacks. But with Crabominal, Crabominal is slower than the Oranguru, so you can just go for double Crab Hammer, double Ice Punch, double Drain Punch, which can be really good to get knockouts quickly in Trick Room with Crabominal. And with the double Drain Punch, for example, keep Crabominal healthy and keep it around. The Arcanine is going to be the mon that you see basically on every combination that you lead with this team. Terra Grass to deal with Spores and Leech Seeds, for example. Flare Blitz, Snarl, Extreme Speed, Will-O-Wisp to deal with physical attackers, special attackers, a little bit of priority, and then the Flare Blitz for the big damage. This is the same Arcanine that I've been using since Knoxville, so it's been working for me, but I have noticed that Arcanine isn't doing as good because the Rune Pokemon really take down its bulk, really take down its offensive pressure, and like losing those things is what makes Arcanine good. So there's basically two modes. So you either go Mouse Ape with Ting-Lu Arcanine, or you go Oranguru, Crabominal, Arcanine, Ting-Lu for Trick Room. You could do a Trick Room setup with Annihilate Mousehold in the back, but I don't know. Usually when I use the team, I either go the Mousehold, Annihilate, Arcanine, Ting-Lu, or Oranguru Trick Room with Arcanine and Ting-Lu. If you want to see more of the details, I'll have the pace in the comments down below, and I'll also have some videos. We did try this in IR Nemesis's ladder tournament, and it didn't have that good of a showing. It worked well. This was one of the first teams that I built with Regulation C back when everyone was focused more on the Chien-Pao and Chi-Yu, but now that Ting-Lu and Wo-Chien has been seeing more and more usage, it is harder to get things going with this team, but I still think it is worth a shot, worth a try, and it's kind of fun to use a Crabominal, not gonna lie to you. Next up, we have the Hero Pal team. Now, this takes advantage of Chien-Pao's Swords of Ruin, which drop the defense, and Palafin's priority move and Jet Punch. So here you have Sucker Punch on King Gambit for priority, you have Palafin's Jet Punch for priority, and then if you don't want to go the Chien-Pao, you do have the Pelipper option for Rain to boost that Palafin up even more. Basically, if the Palafin has Chien-Pao on the field or has Rain on the field and it Terra Waters, Jet Punch can more than likely knock out a Flutter Mane. So that's something that you can do to be very offensive turn one. You could just switch in you could have the Rain and switch in baby Palafin, even in its baby form. You can do pretty good damage with Jet Punch if you Terra Water or you have Chien-Pao on the field. But most of the time, unfortunately, you do want to switch out, and that's where things like Iron Hands and Serena come in. Just a little bit of more bulky mons. We have Iron Hands with the safety goggles to deal with Spore, Terra Fire to deal with Burn. This is the Fake Out Mon with Drain Punch for recovery, Wild Charge, and Volt Switch. This team does rely a lot on pivoting to get in position with Serena and Iron Hands. Serena, I did a video on. I think Serena is going to be a good call. Queenly Majesty stops priority, so you can use the Serena to shut down Arcanine, and the Terra Fire. Oh, it's Terra Grass. I gotta Terra this. I will put a rental code up when I fix that in editing. It should be Terra Fire. The Terra Fire helps deal with Flutter Mane's Fairy type moves. It helps deal with Chi-Yu's Fire type moves, any Ice type moves that you will get from Chien-Pao off lead. And Low Kick does really good damage to Ting-Lu, to Wo-Chien, to Chien-Pao. Basically can one-shot the Chien-Pao if it's not Focus Sash or if the Focus Sash is broken. Drop Kick is good because it drops attack on physical mons. U-turn for pivoting, and then Play Rough can do good against Chi-Yu. The Low Kick doesn't get the knockout on Chi-Yu, so you might have to go for a Play Rough or just chip it down. Drop Kick is a 2-shot against Flutter Mane. U-turn does about 40 to 50% on most Wo-Chiens I've went against, and Low Kick can do really good against Ting-Lu. The King Gambit here is just an all-around just bulky mon. We don't have the Assault Vest because it's on Serena. It's more needed on Serena, but King Gambit is kind of like the anti-Trick Room with Iron Hands. So you can have Sucker Punch, Kowtow Cleave, and Iron Head. And then we have the Terra Flying if you need to deal with Ting-Lu. So you can shut it down that way so you can't get hit by fissures. And it's also good because it takes away the ground type weakness and the fighting type weakness that King Gambit has. Pelipper is just your standard bulky Pelipper. Hurricane, Hydro Pump, Tailwind, Protect. The Citrus Berry helps keep it around. It is bulky. It's only 100 speed. So even in Tailwind with the Palafin and the Pelipper, there is a chance that you might still get outsped by some mons. It's just enough speed so you can outspeed Iron Bundle with Palafin, but most of these mons will do really well. We'll take a hit or two. You do have to play it really well, and it's all about positioning. So unfortunately, one downside to this team is that it doesn't have an answer to get rid of toxic spikes. So that is something you do have to factor in, that with Glamoras, there's really no way to hit it other than a Hurricane if it goes Terra Grass, or a Hydro Pump if it doesn't from Pelipper. Other than that, you have to hit it with a physical attack and activate those spikes. So that's something you do need to keep in mind when you see Glamora on the team, the opposing team. Palafin's pretty standard. It has Haze to deal with Danzo and boosting Mons. With the Chien-Pao, I went with Ice Spinner to get rid of Psychic Terrain, because we want to stop priority attacks, but we also still want to take advantage of priority attacks. We have 4 priority attacks on the team with Fake Out, 2 Sucker Punches, and a Jet Punch. So Ice Spinner is there, and I think Ice Spinner is a really solid move overall, especially the fact that it gets rid of terrain. Sacred Sword ignores any kind of defensive changes from the opposing opponents, and then Sucker Punch is just the priority move that you need. But yeah, I feel like this team's pretty standard overall. Once again, I will fix this in editing when I have the Serena, the proper Terra type. And the last team I have for you is, I like to call the Tox Seed Dondozo team. It is basically reliant on either one of 2 things: setting up an endgame where Dondozo can be successful with toxic spikes on the field, or set up a matchup where Wo-Chien can chip down and sweep with Leech Seed and just stall. So there's not a lot of protect on this team outside of the Fluttermane, the Wo-Chien, and the Danzo. So that's something you do have to keep in mind if you're trying to play even more stally. But Arcanine's there to deal with the attackers with Intimidate. Glamora has the Assault Vest, so it doesn't get knocked out quickly by special attackers. Energy Ball can one-shot. Most Palafins can one-shot most Iron Bundles, so you can always use Energy Ball there. I do think you might have to Terra against the Palafin, but I don't think you have to Terra against the Iron Bundle. You also have Power Gem to deal with Chien-Paos really well, and getting the toxic spikes on the field are really good. Fluttermane is Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, and Trick Room. Dazzling Gleam for that spread damage, Shadow Ball for that big hitter, Trick Room for as an anti-Trick Room, and then just protect with the Focus Sash. This is really just kind of a do damage with Fluttermane and bring attention away from either Wo-Chien or Glamora, so you can be successful with those 2. Once again, same Arcanine as we saw on the first team, just Flare Blitz, Snarl, Extreme Speed, Will-O-Wisp, Terra Grass to deal with Leech Seed and Spore. And Danzo has Terra Grass for this same thing. A lot of Terra Grass on this team, but it's still pretty balanced, because if you Terra Grass one of them, you still could have a Fire Water Grass Core. Basically, what you want to do with Arcanine is use Snarl and Will-O-Wisp and Intimidate to weaken their offensives, so that lets Wo-Chien sit on the field even longer, lets Glamora get up spikes, and can set Danzo to be successful. Danzo is just standard. I really haven't had a lot of experience with Danzo, so this is something new for me, but I'm interested to try the Danzo. We got Protect, Substitute, Earthquake Order up with leftovers. The reason why Danzo has the leftovers is because you need to play more of a stally game, and that's Danzo's only recovery, where Wo-Chien has things like Giga Drain and Leech Seed. Giga Drain is iffy for me. The reason why I went with Giga Drain over something like Ruination or Knockoff is because of the big root that we have to replace the leftovers. So what big root does, it increases the amount of recovery you get from Leech or Seeding type moves. So you'll get more recovery off of your Leech Seed, you'll get more recovery off of your Giga Drain with the big root attached. Tetsugiri is just very standard. Icy Wind, Muddy Water, Draco Meteor, Choice Scarf, Terra Water. It's okay. I've definitely used it as like a lead just to bait the Danzos, but it is kind of risky because if your Tetsugiri goes down and you have Danzo in the back, you're in trouble. Sleep Talk to deal with the situation if we fall asleep coming out of Danzo. Then I didn't know what last move to put on there. I thought about Dragon Pulse, but I saw that most people, when they use the Danzo sets, they went with Sleep Talk on the Tetsugiri as like a just in case kind of thing, so I wanted to do that as well. Okay, so I went and fixed the Serena, made it Terra Fire. That way it can deal with Chi-Yu and Fluttermane a lot better. So here is the new rental code. Make sure that if you are wanting to try the team out, you try this out. And I know that it's not that big of a deal for most people, but all the Pokemon except for the Ruined Pokemon and Oranguru, because you need 0 attack and 0 speed, so I did not go for a shiny on that one. All the Pokemon on here are 100% like shiny, except for the Ruined Pokemon Oranguru. So building these teams have been a labor of love. I had a lot of fun testing these teams out, trying it. Like I said, if you want to see any of these teams in action on Showdown, I do have videos where I've already tested these teams. So if you want to see how they're played, you can check those videos out. And for once, I actually have teams before, more than one team before the format starts. So I'm excited to try them out. Hopefully you are too. Let me know which team you would try out first in the comments down below. And if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Zach, and we'll see everyone later.